What lies ahead for the soul of our Constitution? For half a century, the Basic Structure Doctrine has acted as India's invisible firewall, protecting democracy, secularism, judicial review, and the separation of powers from sweeping political change. It was forged in the crucible of Keshavananda Bharati, tempered through Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan, and tested again and again in Minerva Mills, I.R. Coelho, and beyond. But today, we face unprecedented challenges: overwhelming parliamentary majorities, the rise of pervasive digital surveillance, new social and environmental emergencies, and pressure of populist majoritarianism. In such a movement, we must ask not just what the basic structure doctrine has been, but what it must become. Should these unwritten guardrails remain flexible or be codified into law? Should we reinterpret its scope to defend digital freedoms and climate justice? And above all, who will guard the guardians? Welcome to the final episode of our landmark series, The Basic Structure Doctrine, the soul of our Constitution. I am Advocate Amod Bidhuri. Over the last 10 episodes, we have charted the doctrine's origins, its fiercest battles, global counterparts, and its role in shaping modern India. Tonight, we leave the safety of precedent and step into the unknown, because the doctrine's future is not written in any judgment. It is to be written by us, judges, legislators, scholars, activists, and every citizen who cherishes our constitutional promise. Today, we will 1. Explore whether codification can strengthen clarity without inviting political misuse. 2. Debate if reinterpretation must expand to protect new rights, digital, environmental, social, etc. 3rd, ask which institutions and which of us must share the burden of defending constitutional soul. 4. Envision a doctrine that remains a living covenant, not a brittle artifact. This is not an academic exercise, it is a civic challenge, because the future of our democracy and the freedoms we hold dear depend on the answers we choose. Let's begin. Unlike most constitutional limits, India's basic features, our structural soul, are never written in statute. They live in judicial memory, case by case, judgment by judgment. Some propose codification, a clear legislative list of non-amendable features: democracy, secularism, free elections ratified by supermajority. Clarity and democratic legitimacy, but at the risk of political manipulation. What if tomorrow's majority redefines the list to suit its interests? What are the pros and cons of codification? Let's discuss. We face a paradox. Do we enshrine the doctrine in law or preserve its living, flexible nature? Perhaps a hybrid statutory guidelines plus judicial interpretation can safeguard both clarity and adaptability. The world of 1973 is not today's world. Digital surveillance, climate emergency, algorithmic bias, should these urgent issues become basic features beyond amendment? Professor Maya Sundaram said, constitutional morality must speak to each generation's challenges, that is, privacy, environment, fairness in technology. Reinterpretation does not mean rewriting core values, it means applying them to new realities. But we must guard against judicial overreach, expanding the doctrine so broadly that it chokes parliamentary democracy. The judiciary has been the sole guardian of the doctrine. However, in a vibrant democracy, this responsibility must be shared. Judges interpret and enforce, Parliament drafts and redefines, civil society educates, advocates, and pressures for accountability. Legal scholars, NGOs, student activists, and each citizen, your vigilance, debates, and public interest litigation are the citadels that preserve constitutional faith. What are the options for future? 1. Expand, include digital, environmental, social justice rights. 2. Narrow it down, focus strictly on democracy, secularism, rule of law. 3rd, mixed, core invariants plus flexible periphery. Expanding the doctrine can protect emerging rights, data dignity, ecological sustainability, yet narrowing it ensures it remains a concise shield, not an overbroad sword. A layered model, firm core, adaptive shell, could strike the right balance. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar spoke of constitutional morality, the culture of respect for the constitution beyond its text. Democracy thrives on dissent. The basic structure doctrine protects that space. When we fear disagreement, we lose liberty. Our collective faith sustains the doctrine's power. The doctrine is more than a judicial invention. It is India's covenant with itself. Should it evolve? Yes. through informed codification, thoughtful reinterpretation, and shared guardianship. Now it's your turn. Share your view. Should we codify or keep it flexible? What new basic feature matters most to you? How will you guard our constitutional soul? And so we come to the end of our 10-episode journey through the Basic Structure Doctrine. Its birth in Keshavanda Bharati case, its battles with Indira Gandhi's emergency, its reinventions in Minerva Mills and NJC case, its global cousins, and tonight, its uncertain future. We have asked the hard questions. Should we codify dreams into statutes or let principles breathe in judicial memory? When digital shadows and environmental urgency loom, must we reinterpret our core? And who, in the years to come, will stand sentinel over the Constitution's soul? We have seen that codification can bring clarity, but also rigidity. That reinterpretation can breathe life into old words but threatens overreach. That the doctrine's guardianship cannot rest solely in courtrooms. It must be shared by parliament, scholars, civil society, and every citizen. In every generation, constitutions live or die by the convictions of their people. The Basic Structure Doctrine did not emerge from stone carvings. It was forged in the hearts of those who resisted authoritarianism. It survives because successive judges, lawyers, activists, and everyday citizens believe that some values must stand above politics. But belief is only the beginning. Now comes the work. Engage, read the preamble, study the cases, question assumptions, debate in classrooms, in courtrooms, online, at dinner tables. Defend through petitions, protests, public interest litigation, and the vote. Your voice, your duty, our democracy. When you speak up, you honor the Constitution's promise. When you teach it, you expand its reach. When you defend it, you ensure that no government, no majority can erode the right it guarantees. Thank you for joining me across 10 episodes and hundreds of minutes of deep dive into the soul of our Constitution. This is not just a series, it is a conversation that must continue. Because democracy is not a spectator sport. If this journey moved you, please like, share this episode with friends and colleagues. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can never miss our next hearing. Comment below, what will you do to guard the soul of our Constitution? I am Advocate Amod Bidhuri. It has been my honor to guide you through the living heart of India's constitutional journey. The final hearing must be ending, but the future of our democracy lies in your hands. Jai Hind.